which starts on 1st July to just 5.5%, and that's down from 5.7%. Now, the government attributes the revision to developments with the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Here's CGTN's Yasser Kim reporting from Cairo.
Officials in Egypt had to submit a new state budget this week to deal with the geopolitical developments that have hit Eastern Europe over the last couple of months, as global inflation and shortages in supply of commodities had shot prices up, putting a further burden on the Egyptian population.
Because of the latest developments, the president ordered the government to review the budget and give more attention to social welfare programs to protect Egyptians through this crisis. The Ministry of Finance adjusted the budget's components to give more room for the social side and to absorb the increasing prices of basic goods and for social safety nets, as well as increasing financial allocations for subsidy programs.
The budget increase will finance the recent raise in salaries and pensions for employees, more cash payment schemes for poor families, upgrade health services, food supplies, and developing poor villages. It's also a safety net for Egyptians from the impact of floating the Egyptian pound last week. In turn, expenditure on public investment projects is set to increase by 15.2%, down from 16.2% in the original budget.
Expect funding to go to projects that will support economic growth, such as SMEs and the construction sector, which is extremely important at this stage because the construction sector is served by 10 feeder industries like steel, wood and cement. Supporting the private sector will boost economic growth.
Though expenses in the budget have increased by 16%, the government has maintained the previous target of deficit to be 6.3% of GDP, while initial surplus will stand at 1.5%. This requires a boost in revenue from several sources, especially that income from sectors such as tourism have dropped significantly since the war in Ukraine.
If we focus on supporting exports, this will improve balance of trade and push GDP up because Egypt imports more than 60% of its needs. Increasing tax inclusion through incentives to attract more people in the tax system is essential. Tax inclusion will guarantee more revenue that would support the budget.
In its revenue stream for the next fiscal year, the government is also relying on an increase in remittances from expatriates, as well as turning into the debt market with a new loan request from the International Monetary Fund and tapping more bonds and treasuries by being the first country in the Middle East